Hi and welcome to Most Shocking. This is a story of the Watts murders. Christopher Lee Watts and Shannan Catherine Watts were married on November the 3rd, 2012. They had two beautiful daughters, Bella Marie Watts, age 4, and Celeste Catherine Watts, age 3. Shannan was also pregnant with the boy on the way who they had already named Nico. The family lived in a 5-bedroom home in Frederick, Colorado, which they had purchased in 2013. Chris was employed by Anadarko Petroleum, while Shannan was an independent representative for the multi-level marketing company le-vel, selling a product called Thrive. On the morning of August 13, 2018 at around 1:48 a.m, Shannan returned home from a business trip to Arizona, being dropped off by her friend Nickole Atkinson. Later that morning, Shannan was reported missing by her friend Nickole after failing to attend a pre-planned doctor's appointment that morning, and all attempts to contact Shannan by Nickole had failed. Subsequently, it was discovered Chris Watts had murdered Shannan, their two children, Bella and Celeste, and the unborn child Shannan was carrying, Nico. Here we analyse the telltale signs from Chris's body language that all is not what he is portraying it to be.
How you guys doing?
Brother?
What's that?
Do you remember me?
Yeah.
Hey man,
How you been?
Hi.
Here, Nickole?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going on?
So my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend.
All right.
And I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well. And she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9. And I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls. And she was very distraught over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking. And we kept trying to force it on her because she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband and her supposedly are separating, but she didn't know this. She thought they were just having issues. He disclosed that to me today.
Okay.
Because I called him and I was like, have you talked or heard from Shannan since she left for work this morning? Because I can't get a hold of her. I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are by the front door.
She only has one vehicle?
No, they only have the one vehicle in his work truck.
Okay. That's what I'm asking. There's not a...
She took the girls and went on a play date, but they're 4 and 2. She went on a play date. Why wouldn't she take in a car? They're both in car seats. And she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9 and she didn't go to the doctor's appointment.
Okay. No answer on the phone. Husband's on his way.
Supposedly, but he said that 30 minutes ago when I called him again and he said he was 45 minutes out still. And I know the code to the door.
You do?
I do, but there's a thing on it. There's a... No, it'll even press everything to do it. There's a... They have the thing flipped up here.
Oh. What about the garage door?
I don't
Is
know.
there...
The alarm goes off.
So, this is 1:40 p.m. in the afternoon when local law enforcement arrived to do a welfare check on Shannan and the children. Already you can see Nickole is frustrated after explaining to the officer that she's been trying to contact Chris, and as Chris has continuously told her that he's on his way, but yet has not arrived. The officer searches the grounds, the windows, the doors, looking for any sign of life coming from within the property, either by way of Shannan or the children.
You can't enter the house unless you see signs of...
Yep. I've got to have more unless I get consent from him to go in.
And if you don't, you can't enter.
Because it could be grandparents came and picked him up. You know, it could be a lot of things. She left her phone. Her phone's dead.
It doesn't change anything even if they are pregnant.
No. I mean...
It's different rules, but they're all about...
Yeah. You've got your Fourth Amendment rights to the house.
Yep.
I can't violate that.
Yep. I told her.
That's why.
She's like, they'll break down the door. I'm like, no, they won't.
No, not. I mean, if I saw her laying on the ground, something like that.
You saw signs of a fight or anything.
Kids were. I could get a hold of the kids. No, mom's not answering.
Can't do much.
I got nothing right now though. How you doing? You seen your neighbors today? No? Okay.
So the next door neighbour Nate appears here for the first time to see what's going on, and is asked by the officer if he's actually seen Shannan or the children at this point.
Oh, we're just trying to get a hold of her. Felt like she wasn't feeling too good and pregnant, and they're just concerned.
No, I know
You didn't see her today though, any outside or anything? Okay.
That's not it anymore.
Right.
Is there a key code, Sandy, to open the garage from the outside? What is it? His mom's gonna get it.
Okay.
This is her parents.
Alright, what's the key code of the garage? Sandy's house. The cops are there.
Well, I can't go in, but if they allow you to go in, I have to have the property owner's permission to enter.
What's going on?
Okay. Well, he's the property
Well,
owner.
they told me Shannon was at her girlfriend's house.
Do we know who that is?
Do we know who?
Or phone number?
He didn't say.
When did he tell you that?
He thinks he's acting funny. I don't get it. What did he say?
He told me that Shannan didn't take the girls to school this morning because she was going to go on a play date, but her car's here.
You say how long you're taking to get
He said like 5 minutes. So he's about here.
here? He's told us 45 minutes 2 times in a row. He told one of my mom's friends that he was on I-45, so the interstate pretty much.
Mhm.
And we waited the time we were told. The mom called again. He said he was still on it and to wait another 45 minutes. So he's just been giving us false times and everything. And we know he's been lying because his stories aren't adding up.
Right.
Tell everybody different stories.
Chris has been contacted many times by Shannan's friends, and as he states, has been saying over and over that he's 5 minutes away. But already he's raising people's suspicions and frustrations, taking almost an hour before arriving. Surely, if this was a genuine emergency and there was clearly concern for your wife and family, wouldn't you rush home as soon as possible to see what was going on?
And do we have like her parents' phone numbers or anything we can call them and make sure?
She's not close to him.
Oh, she's not?
Not that. No,
Okay.
she still talks to him and everything, but they don't know any of the codes to the house or anything.
Well, I was just thinking maybe they were watching the kids or she was visiting them or
In the state.
they don't. Okay.
The neighbor has a camera system,
Mhm.
and he said because we have one story. She's with a friend right now, and then there's another story. She's on a play date with her kids with another friend, and then she left in the middle of the night. So he's told us 3 different stories. So the neighbor over there said he has a camera that sees
Go
out
review.
on the street. So sorry. We asked him if he could see if he was able to see if she ever left the house.
Alright, that'll
He
work.
got in someone else's car.
So here for the first time we learn that the neighbour Nate, who had been on his porch earlier, has actual footage from his CCTV camera recorded that will show if Shannan or any of the children or anybody has left the property at any time. Chris is finally arriving home after almost an hour of being called and informed of concerns.
I'm here. Hang on. Okay, yeah, get me on the phone. Okay, get me on the phone.
Scott, how you doing?
How's it going?
So this is the only vehicle she would have?
Only one that, yeah.
She would drive? Okay.
That's me. Yeah. The neighbors went and checked his camera and said that a white car drove away at 1. It was me, though. That was me. I dropped her off.
That was the last action on my camera.
But that's throughout the whole day or?
Besides Chris leaving.
Well, yeah.
What about is there any way you can look for the day? During the daytime?
What? Frantic. The girls' car seats are in the car, too. So if she left with the friend, she would have took the car seats.
I can go look at
So Chris has entered the house through the garage in order to open the front door for Nicky and the police, but as you will see, takes a while to do so, leaving Nicky visibly frustrated at his lack of concern or urgency for the situation.
Nikki, I'm giving you permission to walk in my daughter's house.
Mind if I come in, Chris? Okay. You checked upstairs? She's not there. I just want to make sure she's not passed out somewhere. Is she diabetic? You mind if I look around? Okay, thanks.
So again, you hear the officer ask Chris if he's checked upstairs to see if Shannan's passed out anywhere. Chris hasn't checked upstairs and he's not in any rush to do so either. Now, if you'd arrived home to an officer waiting for you to check on the welfare of your wife and your children, then as soon as you got into the house, you would be going from room to room shouting Shannan, Bella, Celeste, to see if anybody was there, to see if anybody had passed out, if Shannan was unwell and couldn't make it to a phone or the door to answer to anybody. He doesn't do this at all because he knows Shannan's not in the house. He knows exactly where Shannan is and what's happened to her.
Oh. Well, any friends she would be hanging out with? I know. I guess her parents are out of state.
Across country, North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's not happening. All the girls' blankies are gone.
Chris now drops into the officer that the kids' blankies are gone, but he still doesn't seem in any rush to find out what's happened to them. He doesn't seem to be frantic or really concerned about the disappearance of both his children and his wife. He's still a lot calmer than, say, Nickole is or the friend that's with them.
Their blankies they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
Good.
Her phone.
Her phone's here? Yeah. Her phone's here.
Does she work?
Yeah, she works from home.
Oh, from home.
She works this is her lifeline. So yeah, that thing turns back on, it's gonna start blowing up. Oh yeah. Trust me.
It was shut down.
She's in the play. Yeah. Well, it was originally under the pillow on the couch. You know her passcode?
I don't know her passcode.
It used to be 2385 and now it's 6 digits.
What's the baby's due date?
1/31/19.
What does she do for work?
She works a direct sales company called Drive.
How often does her blood sugar drop low?
Cassie, her friend in Arizona, said that that's the first time that's ever happened.
She normally has migraines, like a while ago, but she had them a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
Cassie's a nurse, so she figured it was because her blood pressure sugar was dropping.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't eating her normal that she normally eats. Like she'd take a couple bites until she was full.
Okay.
And
She doesn't ever black out or have
No,
seizures or anything like
No,
that.
I mean, a long time ago. She got in a car wreck, and I believe that's what happened. But Imitrex is something she takes for migraine. She took more Imitrex this last month than she ever had before, but that's just because she was in North Carolina with the humidity and everything like that. She was there for 6 weeks, and we got back Monday or Tuesday, and then she flew out to Arizona Friday morning, and then she got back last night about 2 a.m. The flight got delayed. She left about 11. She got here at 2.
Okay.
And I went to work this morning about 5:15, 5:30.
What do you do?
I work at oil and gas in Anadarko.
What do you do for them?
Operator.
Oh. Long days then?
Yeah, I'd definitely still be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a long day, especially in that heat. There's no like off text messages unless
Can you look at your camera to see from your security system to see when she left?
it's unless they left out the front door.
Because you told me that she went on a play date with the girls, and then
That's what she told me.
Addie said you told her that
She went with some friends she went to go to a friend's house with the kids. That's why I knew they weren't at school.
Addie said you told her that she left in the middle of the night.
Oh no, she didn't leave in the middle of the night, no.
Yeah.
So here we hear Nicky challenging Chris about his ever-changing story to different friends about where Shannan was planning on going. He's told one friend that she's on a play date. He's told another friend that she left in the middle of the night, which he's now refusing. He's not looking at Nicky. He's not maintaining any eye contact. He's not actually maintaining any eye contact with anybody. He's staring at the phone that apparently he doesn't know the passcode to. Does he know the passcode, or does he just not want to get into the phone because there's something on there he doesn't want anybody to see?
Where do you kids go to school at?
Primrose in Vista Ridge. Okay. Hey. Yeah. No. Yeah, she said she was at her friend's house. That's what she told me she was going to do.
Nicholas.
I have no clue at whatsoever why she wouldn't take her cell phone. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. If she doesn't leave out the front door, I can't see it. Well, yeah, I can look at that and see. But it's so random because it goes off and on here lately. It gets false trips. They told me it was open when I got here. I know it doesn't make any sense at all. I'm not lost. I don't know where she's at, where the kids are at. Hello?
I don't see her first because she's doing
Yeah. Only people that are out of state that she would contact would be in Arizona, be Catherine and Josh, and they're not there.
The guy with the camera said nobody left the house during the day. The only people that showed up in the driveway and entered it were us.
I can look. What's that?
your neighbor's camera.
Your neighbor, he has cameras. He said that the only people that left the house were you in the morning and then drove or shut and then that's all he has.
I dropped her off.
Okay. But who left and then just okay.
So now, at this point, Chris has been told that the neighbour has CCTV camera footage that will show if anybody's left the property or anybody have arrived to the property. You can see that Chris pays more attention to this conversation and then starts swaying side to side again, obviously nervous about what could be seen on this camera that he obviously hasn't taken into any kind of account.
I'll see if I can get on that USA app or Chase app, see if I can get on it, please. I'll see. I will. Alright, here's Nicky.
Hello?
Dispatch Rec 91. You can cancel medical if they're staged.
Now you see how nervous Chris looks when the officer starts speaking into his radio. As he turns round to face the officer to see what he's saying, he looks really, really nervous.
At the pool?
Yeah.
The little rec center thing right here.
There's a pool right down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been here for like off and on for 3 hours. Here, you're nothing.
Alright, I can run down there and check.
So Nicky has just made a perfectly good suggestion that perhaps Shannan has taken the kids to the pool. Now this seems plausible. The weather's really hot, she wouldn't need the car to drive there, she wouldn't need many belongings. But Chris doesn't even seem to entertain the idea at all. Does he not even want to go and bother checking? Surely if you thought that your wife and children were missing, if there was any possibility that there was anywhere you would go and have a look at least, would you not?
You guys have any kind of issues, marital issues, or?
We're going through separation.
You are? You guys filed yet or anything, or just talking about?
No, we're gonna sell the house and do a separation.
And how's that going?
It's going
Civil for the most
civil,
part, or? Does your wife go to that swimming pool often, or the?
It just depends. I mean, on a hot day like this, I would say no.
Now this statement seems ludicrous to me. On a hot day like this, I would say no. What kind of days do you go to the pool? You don't really tend to go when it's raining or it's freezing cold, especially when you've got young kids. Again, he's not in any rush to go and see if she is there, even if it's the slightest chance. You would still go and have a look.
What's that?
Nothing on there. My camera. Lay down.
Load my stuff up in my coolers, my water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I had from the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping unit rubbers today. That's why I was out so far.
While Chris is in Nate's house, his behaviour is really interesting. As you can see, he keeps his back to the screen. He's not glued to it like a normal person would be to see if you could see Shannan leaving or to see if anybody had arrived at the property that could explain where Shannan might be or the children. He's still looking down at his phone, not particularly doing anything. Now, if he's not realised that his neighbour has CCTV, then he's going to be nervous about what's coming up on this screen. He's really going to be in an uncomfortable position. Are they going to see him loading bodies into his van, which inevitably is what happened?
Is this on continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not. Is it motion or is it?
event,
Okay, so it's motion.
Any motion event that happens, but I get cars driving from this street, This is him at 517.
Usually park out there on the side. I just want to get everything back in. Be easier, so lugging everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in.
So here he's doing it again, looking towards the front door. He's basically looking where his escape route is, should he need it. He's clearly really uncomfortable and just wants to get out of there as fast as possible.
What else can I do with this?
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out
On
there,
his camera's
I would have got it.
Like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that, and I had parked my truck
I
right
had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah. So
you
someone,
can see if
I could
anything
see where
happened.
someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver.
So his hands are on his head, his body language is screaming that he's frightened to death that something will be able to be visible from this camera. He's now making excuses as to why he's needed to back his truck right into the garage and why he parks it in certain places that he doesn't usually park it in, because apparently somebody's tried breaking into his vehicle, although there's been no record and no reports of any crime in the area by any other neighbours. So it's really just an excuse to try and justify why he's backed his truck so far into the garage, which he never normally does, which the neighbour has confirmed. Again, it's lie upon lie upon lie. He's clearly very visibly uncomfortable. He's sweating. You can see he keeps looking towards the door. His hands are on his head. He's swaying from side to side again, all these telltale signs that he's hiding something, and he's trying so hard to make it appear that he's the concerned husband, when in actual fact all he's doing is making himself look suspicious.
Over there, and it was just like.
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would
Yeah, if it would
have.
have been like right in that area, it should have picked. I mean.
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
You know where that tree there too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So he's now trying to give excuses as to why something's not appearing, why Shannan doesn't appear to have left, or there's been no activity outside the property, or maybe the camera doesn't pick this part up, or maybe the camera doesn't cover this area. But his neighbour's quite insistent straight away, no, it'll pick anything up within the vicinity of your property. If Shannan would have left, we would have seen her.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here. We've already watched that one. But like, you'll see this car.
What security system do you have?
X-ray this car. You can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, look. Okay.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
That's cool.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher. Yeah, be close for.
Yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and making this turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling a U-turn. So, unless they pulled right here,
Yeah.
but I would have caught her walking out.
Chris is clearly relieved that nothing's shown up on CCTV, although obviously it still will raise suspicions with everybody where Shannan and the children could be, as seen as there's no sign of them leaving at all. But he seems relieved. He's still looking at his exit route. He still wants to get out of there. He still looks clearly really uncomfortable.
Diesel.
You're good.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
She's pregnant as well.
So Nate's screensaver comes up on the telly of a baby within the uterus, which prompts Chris to inform the officer that Shannan is actually pregnant. This is the first time he's raised the pregnancy or even mentioned that Shannan's pregnant. I mean, wouldn't that be one of the first things you told the officers when they arrived? Wouldn't that be a grave concern to you, that your wife was heavily pregnant and missing, but yet this is the first time he even mentions it?
How far along?
14, 15 weeks. That's why her friend said it was low blood sugar.
And see, I've got her friend leaving out here at 2 in the morning, I think. So, my camera. So yeah, that was it.
All right. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Hopefully something comes up here.
So you can see the sign of relief on Chris's face when the neighbour explains that that's it, there's nothing more to see. He charges towards that front door, can't wait to get out, clearly still really uncomfortable. These aren't the signs of an innocent man. These aren't the signs of a man desperate to find his wife and children, who's concerned about the safety of where they could have gone, as seen as there's no sign of them leaving the house whatsoever. Again, he was looking down at his phone, not doing anything though. He's not ringing round friends or neighbours or family. There's no sense of urgency about Chris at all. They even hear the neighbour now say that he's acting suspiciously, that that's not the way that Chris normally acts, and even he can tell the difference. So Chris, by wanting to portray that he's the concerned and loving husband and that he's just as frightened as everybody else, and trying not to show that he's nervous or uncomfortable, or he's actually done the complete opposite.
You just want to go talk to him? I'm going to get his info real quick. No.
Unfortunately, the outcome was that, of course, Chris Watts murdered his wife Shannan, their two beautiful children, Bella 4, Celeste 3, and their unborn 15-week-old son Nico. Chris buried Shannan's body on the oil site where he worked in a shallow grave and then dumped his children's bodies in the tankers on the site. Watts pleaded guilty in November 2018 to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 5 life sentences with a possibility of no parole.